All right, so we are joined by class of 2018, about was that
18.
18?
Yes, sir.
2018, Velma Jackson alum, Micheal Rosenthall, graduate of the Jackson State University, engineer extraordinaire, doing some great things that he's going to show us about here in a second. We got a room full here with us at Velma Jackson. We're recording this for all of our computer science engineering students in Madison County Schools, all the way down there at Madison Middle, Old Town, Germantown, Shirley Simmons, all of them. So we are so glad you're able to share with us today some of the cool things that you have done and that you are continuing to do. But before we get into all that, because you got a lot to show us, I know you're out of the site right now. Take us through, your high school experience because you were very involved here at Velma Jackson. You were in the band, had a lot of leadership roles there, and then that led you to your HBCU experience at Jackson State, which right now is a hot spot for engineering degrees in the state of Mississippi. So take us through that and how your journey led you to Jackson State to where you are now.
I'd say, always growing up, I was very well-rounded student in terms of, uh, I was very intelligent. Things came to me easy, but, something I learned is what I really enjoyed, or the classes that, I was always down or ready to do work for classes that were like math and science, which were for me, it was a lot of based in fact. Like you can prove this, or this is the answer is always going to be the same.
Yep.
So uh, it was just doing work. I found I had a big interest in it. Um, Throughout high school, I was in the beta club. I attended the Jackson State Engineering Fair every year. Um, I was in band. I did track and field. Um, I just tried to make myself overall a guy who was reliable, dependable, and somebody who you think of when you need somebody to guide or lead in an experience.
Yeah, I agree. You were a great student and a great leader here. So then you left Velma Jackson, and what was your take us through your next steps after that?
Graduated high school, and funny enough, there was I don't know if the program is still in now, but the Bridge to the Future program at Jackson State helped give STEM majors a jump on their college careers. I believe that they might have it might have just be called the Stars program now, which is I think if it is, it's for everybody, and not just STEM majors anymore. But I mean, I graduated May 25th. May 28th, I was moving into my door.
Wow.
Yes, I I graduated on that Friday, and that Monday. Oh yeah, that Monday I was back in. I mean, classes hadn't started yet, but yeah, I was right into college, and
That's
it
awesome.
was just an amazing experience. College in and of itself is one of the greatest times of your life. Coach Wells told me while I was in his class. He tells everybody, college is col- college can be one of the most fun and crazy times of your life because you're out and you get all of the benefits of being an adult, but your parents they're still backing you up. So you have for some people, a lot of people, you have, or even me, you have just about all the benefits of the being an adult, but a minimum amount of the responsibility. So it was an amazing time. College is very fun. I mean, I got to college and I just I kept up with my trying to be a leader, dependable person. I mean, I got to Jackson State and I joined so many different organizations, so way more than I can count. Ones that stick out, man. The one that sticks out mainly for me all the time is Men of Excellence. It was a leadership group that we used to help boys and to young men, people who coming into college, because everybody has different experiences. One of the things that we did every year that really stuck out was we had a how to tie a tie forum, and you find out that there are so many people who didn't know how to tie ties, and I didn't learn how to tie a tie until like 2 hours before my junior prom. So, so I mean, yeah, that's something that's like a really big deal, and it's just to help, you know, teach some of the lost arts of growing up and being a man.
Yeah,
Sometimes
and Men
that's
of
something that.
Excellence has chapters at pretty much every university and their sister organization, Ideal Women, as well. I know when I was at Southern Miss, they both had very large chapters. So that would be pretty much, I know at all of our state universities, Men of Excellence and Ideal Women both are great organizations. And, I always say we have guests from these colleges that have gone to HBCUs, PWIs. You don't have to be in a fraternity or sorority to have a good college experience. And I know another organization for you that you talked about before was the National Society of Black Engineers, which and provided you with
Love it.
some great networking. And also, if we have kids that want to go to Mississippi State for engineering, they have a chapter of National Society of Black Engineers. I went to LSU; they had a Society of National Society of Black Engineers, or a chapter of National Society of Black Engineers. So it's not just at the HBCUs. You can find your place in any engineering program, pretty much in the country. And I didn't want to step too much on what you were going to
Yeah.
say. I know you are very high on NESBA and what it was able to do for you. And I know you went to Michigan for a short time to work in engineering.
Yes. Lovely experience. They're always there. Some in college. There's you find out there's a club or a group for anything, and they actually do stuff. It's actually important. A lot of these clubs or groups are nationwide or worldwide. NESB nationwide. So there's a Black Engineer of the Year conference in like March every year. Big deal. You get these big networking opportunities. This is how a lot of people get internships. And there's so many different things. You just go for it. Always go for it.
Now,
There's always a way for you to find a place. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, and I talk about this with all my guests. The academic side of college is obviously very important, especially if you're on scholarship, because you're going to have a certain GPA to keep your scholarship. But the hands-on experience, especially in a field like engineering, is vital because these engineering firms want to hire somebody that at least has a little bit of experience working with the type of projects they're going to work on. So talk about, and I know we mentioned you did go to Michigan and got some experience, and now you're working on some serious projects, and that's probably because you got that experience first while you were in college to show that you were a good candidate for the engineering job.
Yeah. So during my time in Michigan, I worked more on the design side, which is also very important in getting. I get being an engineer. I helped come up with plans, just learn how to familiarize myself with what plans are supposed to look like. Now I'm working with the Texas Department of Transportation.
Wow.
Nice job, lovely, amazing. Uh, and it's the experience of having working in transportation because, like you said, book smarts only get you so far. I mean, even with everything that I know, that I've learned through college, it's it's a lot of it is good for it's good for stuff that stays in the office. My job at the moment isn't a complete office job. It's more like 70-30 field office. This
That's awesome.
we have uh this is this is the book that I've been learning going over. It's the construction and maintenance highways, streets and bridges standard specifications book. So
Wow.
our spec book does basically everything that I need to know about what I'm doing out here is pretty much in there. And some that I realize is you never stop learning, you never stop learning, you never stop learning. Even with all everything that I have, that stuff that I've done in college has really helped me keep up because keep up with learning the things that I'm learning now because things are very different. But you never stop learning. It doesn't stop when you graduate high school. It doesn't stop when you graduate college. It doesn't stop when you get into your career. It doesn't stop 20 years from now when you're basically a veteran at your career. It keeps going.
Yeah, and the thing about, especially with, that's what people don't realize. Every piece of transportation, bridges, tunnels, any type of transportation structure, there before you ever put any material on the ground, the planning process takes years. Because you have to plan on materials, you have to plan on local regulations, you have to look at what type of vehicles are going to be on that material if they can handle it. You got to look at the weather of the area. And that's just what I know off the top of my head. So there's a lot of things that go into planning how these things are built. Now, what I always ask people is, with the and I know I can speak for every teacher that's going to see this. When part of the engineering design process calls for fixing mistakes because there's a lot of trial and error. How often do engineers actually get it right the first time on a project?
It's never. I tell you now, when it comes to these things, I mean, I'm working in the construction side of things right now. The one of the beauties of one of the very funny things is everybody has their gripes. People who only work in construction and have only worked in construction don't really care for people who've done strictly design work, because people who they feel like, which is a lot of times true, people who've done strictly design work, design stuff based off of what they see on from satellite images.
Yeah.
So on my project right here, the plans are a lot. They're mostly right, maybe 80% right. And there's things that happen, shift over time. Uh, you know, oh, this ground box is 20 feet away from where the plan said it is. So like nobody like, even when you get things done properly, you know, there's always going to be a mistake. There's always going to be trial and error. Even when you get things, I mean, even when you plan things properly, there's so much that changes, and sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes you might have missed this, because there have also been some issues where you know he a guy just missed an inlet, or he counted something wrong. You're never ever gonna get something right. Well, most of the time you're not gonna get something right. Getting something right on the first try means that you might have had a stroke of luck, or you had to have a stroke of luck, because you even with practice, you're gonna get it wrong during practice.
Yeah. Now, I do want to see what you're working on out there, but I got two more quick before we see that and then get to the students' questions. First of all, when it comes to engineering, it's a lot more broad than these kids realize, because people aren't really taught from a young age how diverse it really is. I know you're on the transportation construction side, but if you wanted to and got tired of that, you could work in other areas with similar background that you had. But along with that, there's electrical, there's petroleum, there's chemical, there's biotechnicals, just all the different areas. And then also
Nuclear.
oh, I forgot about that one. That's a big one too. And we got another regular guest that's an environmental. So there's just all of that. So I want to hit on that, but also, if we have kids that are like, I don't want to do the whole college thing, I don't want to do the 4-year college, it's just not for me. You can get into this field with certification or associates, or you guys use a lot of trade people that are skilled workers, especially in the construction area. It's not just showing up and punching a clock every day. You really have to know what you're doing. So just talk briefly about the different types of engineering that you've seen. And then, for the kids that maybe want to take a non-traditional route and learn this and get do the associates of the certification side of engineering and how they could be used and useful in this field.
Um, I'm gonna start with the non-traditional route. I mean, in my office, a lot of people don't have degrees. I mean, it's what I'm doing personally. I'm in the engineering training program, which I have rotational. So I start off in this construction, and I get experience as a construction inspector as well as a project manager. There are people in my office who, they've never been to college, or they went to college for something completely different, like criminal justice.
Wow.
You come in, you get the opportunity and you learn. It's so much, like I said, with this, it's this spec book that you have to go over. You learn that you're not limited to just, oh, I went to college. I didn't go to college, so I can't, do these types of things. And the thing is, after you come in, you get your experience and you just work and work and work. You learn, and as you learn, you get better. And you become just as qualified. I mean, there are people who are project managers who haven't been to college, and basically these are the people who are in charge of this entire project. They are the person that you have to refer to. Never been to college, but they can tell you exactly where to go in the spec book to find what you're looking for or the answer to this problem.
Wow.
That's the truth of it. There's people on the design side. Some of those people have gotten in pretty early, or they got in a different way. You learn how to maneuver around. Uh, for the certifications, I mean, to I'm pretty sure to get your even to start off getting your engineering certifications as a certified engineer, you need to have you can substitute years of experience
Wow.
for years of college.
Wow. That's
So
incredible.
like when you get your so when it comes to getting your license to be an engineer, you have to pass this exam, which is extremely hard. You have to study for. But you can also but you also have to have years of experience, which can be substituted for uh, college or vice versa. When it comes to different avenues of engineer, I mean, I have friends who do a bunch of different things. I have friends who that they went off into design. So if you're a person that likes to do CAD drawings and things of that nature, it's perfect. You get to enjoy it. You get to sit and look at look at different things and come up with drawings and say this. We're going to need 65 linear feet of cable barrier here. Or I have friends who are electrical engineers and love working with circuits. There's so many different avenues, and engineering is just it doesn't limit you. It doesn't limit you even when you focus on a certain engineering. With my degree in civil, it also gives me a chance to work in environmental. I can do transportation. There are so many, even with transportation, there are so many different forms of transportation because there's, roadway, there's bridges, there's preventative maintenance, there's paving roads, just testing. We have a guy in our office. His job is he is essentially he is our lab guy when it comes to making sure that companies are using the right rock, that they're make sure they're using the right rock, that the oil or the asphalt that they're using is up to standard. His job is to keep up with that. There's so much. One of the things I think a lot of people, myself included, didn't know growing up is that just look for it. There's a job. There are random jobs that are so interesting or so fun for you to learn that you would know about. Like he's quite literally our guy that makes sure that the rocks or the asphalt or the oil or that the stripes on the road that they paint are all up to standard.
Yep. And you talk about that as well. Like we mentioned, these local community colleges have 1 and 2 year programs. They can plug you into these. You get some certifications, and then if you want to go on and get the full engineering degree and license, you'd be able to do that. But you've already got experience, and you're that much more attractive as a candidate. Now, before I get to these questions, I'd love to see what you're working on out there.
Yeah. Okay. This is my solo project. They have me working on cable barriers, which is
And I think you're showing this is a good point. If you're not somebody that just wants to sit inside all day and you want a good mix, I think this is a great field to get into because You do work in the office, but you also get to go and see what you're working on.
Yeah, this is I get the purpose of this is for the people driving across from this side of the road and this side of the road. Make sure if there's an accident, these cables will stop them from crossing over and causing an accident on the other side of the road. And this project has been going on for, I want to say, almost 3 months now. I mean,
Wow.
we've had to pour this concrete, doing concrete testing, which is so much fun. Ignore this rebar. This is they have to clean up. But I mean, they have to install these posts. Uh, they've had to remove these stripes, and repaint them just to give the contractor some extra space on the work zones.
Wow.
A fun little fact: how big do you think a dash on the road is?
3 feet.
It's 10. Yes,
Wow. I did not know that.
yes. The stripes are 10 feet, and from the beginning of the stripe to the beginning of another stripe is 40.
I did not know that.
Yes, this is the interesting fact you place onto people. There's different things that you have to go through. I mean, I have to come out here every day and make sure that they set up the traffic cones and everything to make sure to keep the contractors and keep everybody safe. And uh, that's what the main focus of my project is cable barriers and repa- uh, repainting the stripes on these roads.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's cool too, in a field like that, it's never the same thing every day. So if you're a person that, you don't want to be monotonous, you want to see things from start to finish. And then when you get done, you get to do something new. This could be a great field to get into. And I think that you just showed us a good example of that. So that was pretty cool. But I do have just a few questions on you.
Yes, it's
I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. I was just saying, always something new every day.
Oh, yeah.
Even the days where you're doing the same thing over and over, you encounter different problems that challenge you to come up with different solutions, which is also very fun.
Oh, absolutely. It's, if you're a person that likes to figure out the answer to things, engineering needs you. Now, and I forgot to ask, what part of Texas are you in right now? Because I know you're there in Texas.
I'm in Amarillo. It's North
Oh, yeah.
Texas. They call it the Panhandle. They call it the area, the Panhandle of
Yep. I've
Texas.
I've been to Amarillo. That's a nice little town. All right. So I just do have a few questions
Yeah.
here from the students. This first one is Michael Sherrill. He's a sophomore, one of our football players here. And he asked, "What is the most exciting part of your job?"
The most exciting part is honestly dealing with contractors because they challenge your people skills from time to time because um my job is to make sure that they're doing their job correctly. So it also comes down to, I have week by week, I have to study my plans, figure out what their job being correct means and how to build a relationship with them. Not as because technically, if you want to look at it, I'm their boss reports to me, and I do that. But no, I speak to them as people. We talk about these different things, or there are certain areas where you can get leeway. They say a maximum of 18 inches, but 18 and a half. I'm here or there. I'm not going to scrutinize you for that. Learning just what to look for when we place concrete, the dirt has to be compacted and you have to spray down. The the ground has to be wet. The surface has to be wet before you place all of it.
Wow.
Simple thing that you need to know. And it's very. I have to go through and check it, make sure that nobody feels like they're being scrutinized all the time, and that we're having this working relationship where I'm not just coming out. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. You need to get all this done. But hey, I see you got it here. Something happened there. or what's going on, because something that's also very telling is the plans aren't 100% accurate. So, sometimes they they've what they've done is account or fix an issue that I caught that I didn't catch in the plans, or that wasn't caught in the plans. So just working with the contractor in there sometimes where they just want to try to skate by. That's true.
But I'm glad you did mention that,
So
because one thing that goes hand in hand, and this would be for engineering and for non-engineering as well, and I think I can speak for the other teachers as well, is that these kids want to get so mad when we make them talk in front of the class. But that skill is so necessary, especially in your line of work when you have to work with different people. We're not asking people to be public speakers, but you have to be able to communicate with people on a verbal level to where everybody understands and everybody can have the same common goal.
yes, speaking. I mean, I had to take public speaking, and uh, something that I learned to overcome was I get a like deep, deep feeling in the pit of my stomach that just stresses me out when I have to speak. Now, I one of the things that my teacher taught, like my professor told me, was make sure you know your information. That's what the purpose was. He said, if you practice, you'll be great, because you're presenting information that you already know,
Mm-hmm.
or you're supposed to be presenting information that you already know. So you can say it, and when you practice what you're going to say, it's going to come easier. So when I look at things, it's hey, you know, this area right here, it has a bit more dirt. Sometimes it's the not being able to speak or speaking up, because it gets loud out here sometimes. So you learn how to base how loud you need to be speaking when your yelling is like still a bit too loud, even though we're outside. It Getting up speaking, it's a lot. I mean, you have to when I mean I am an engineering trainer, so I'm also classified as a project manager at the moment. We have meetings every couple of weeks to discuss where our projects are at, and I have to like sit in front of me and these other guys who've been working here for years, talk about what's going on these projects, giving updates, and I had to learn how to say, oh, this is happening, and for the first couple of times I was scared to speak in front of my boss, period, because I just didn't want to make myself look bad. Now, now I have it a bit more. I do get a bit scared sometimes because sometimes there's some problems, but in general, I got it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, I just got time for one more. This is Krishan Smith. He's also a sophomore, and he asked, what motivated you to get into this area of engineering?"
This is not a good answer for this question, but I'm going to tell the truth. College, well, well, getting into civil engineering, I just graduated. When I was getting ready to graduate high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Friend told me we were sitting in Coach Drain's class. We were sitting in Coach Drain's class. I had her class at the end of the day. We were just talking about stuff to do, like what we are gonna do at the high school. I was like, I don't know. And my friend told me, "You're good at math. You're good at science. Why don't you try going to Jackson State and being an engineer?" I applied, picked the engineering. What's the word? Discipline that sounded nice, and I went for it. I got to college, and the challenge of all the classes riveted me. Then I had an introduction to transportation class my junior year, and of all the classes that were dragging me through the mud junior year, transportation was the only class that I picked up on. I picked up on everything.
Awesome.
It was like riding a bike. I loved it. The information was, I mean, just finding out. One of the things I love is with this whole area is you have definitive proof that you've contributed something to the world.
That is awesome. That's a great way to look at it.
So a lot of people, they like to feel like they've contributed something, but they can't see it, so it doesn't give them that same amount of satisfaction. I come out here and I look and I see, if an accident happens right here, and I've helped mitigate these damages.
Absolutely.
There are people out here who can see the road at night because of what I've helped do, and it
Wow.
makes me feel something.
That's incredible. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking time for us today. And we're just, and like I said, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We are so proud to call you an alumni. I speak for everybody here at Velma Jackson that we just continue to be amazed by all you're doing. But you were walking these same halls with these same teachers, sitting in these same seats just a few years ago, but yet now you're in Amarillo, Texas, as a civil engineer, and you are still moving up the ranks. So you came from the same situations as these kids. So what can they do being in the same place as you were to be just as successful like you've become?
Honestly, I've learned, and I've these teachers, you guys, the teachers who were, I know for sure the teachers who were there when I was there, y'all actually care. Y'all actually putting forth effort, even when it seems like you're just trying to make our lives as difficult as it can be. It's all to make us better. Uh, One thing I can say to always want to be better, always try to be better, and what's going on, just try to push through, persevere. One of the biggest struggles was, COVID. I honestly didn't want to go back to school, but you have to push through and know that what you're going through now is going to make what you get in the future so much better. Being able to take a leap of apply, take a leap of faith, move. I want to move 12 hours away from home and spend, the first 6 months of my like first 6 months of my career away from home, being out of Mississippi. Like that was it was so scary yet so riveting, and it made me so happy. So don't be afraid to take a chance. You know, honestly, something I can tell people is just one thing is go with it. Go with what's going on when it feels right. If you have a feeling that something's wrong, don't do it. Uh, it's okay to sometimes doubt yourself. It's okay. It's fear. There's nothing wrong with that. Me, uh, I haven't told many people yet, but my fiance, I've gotten engaged. She's a teacher out here, and she
Awesome.
gets scared. She gets scared sometimes and thinks, maybe I'm not supposed to be a teacher. Maybe I chose the wrong thing. You chose the right thing. You didn't come this far just to come this far, and you're gonna be great. So just push through. What I say, push through and keep going.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time for us today. Micheal Rosenthall, all the way from Amarillo, Texas, Velma Jackson High School, class of 2018. We are so proud of what all you're doing, and we always are so glad to hear what you're doing out there. So thank you for joining us today.
No problem. You have a nice day.
I talk to you soon, my man.
All right.